Hi, my name's Maria Van Viklis from the Think Tank podcast. Welcome to another episode. I have got the lovely Eesha Patel with me, who will be talking about quantum business. Just a bit about Eesha. Eesha is an international channeler, speaker, author, and healer. And Eesha is the founder of Origin Activation Method, which is a powerful multidimensional energy healing modality that is currently being taught to world-class coaches, speakers, and entrepreneurs. In the last 5 years, Eesha has helped over 10,000 awaken and step into their purpose with abundance. Eesha now helps seven-figure transformational leaders 10x their transformational abilities to make quantum leaps in their businesses for maximized profit, impact, and ease. Welcome to the show, Eesha.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure.
So tell me a bit about yourself if I haven't already covered it.
I think that was a pretty good intro, but yeah, so my name is Eesha and I've been helping people in the last 5 years to really awaken and to, I guess, step into this reality with a different level of understanding of what we actually have access to. My absolute passion is working with other business owners, so other entrepreneurs, and helping them to realize that when they integrate these powerful tools of spirituality and really embody that quantum space, that their ability to help their clients actually goes absolutely 10x. And just utilizing the whole like multidimensional space makes a massive difference to the way that they're able to impact and make that real big difference that these entrepreneurs want to make in the world.
And I bet you've seen such transformational results in multiple different industries. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It started off for me more in the healing space. So I started off actually just as an energy healer. I shouldn't say just, that's actually quite an incredible thing to tell myself. But yeah, then over the years, I've been able to translate that into business and other areas of life as well, just by understanding how this reality works at that real multidimensional sort of level. And then knowing that you can apply those tools and those ideas, those concepts into whether it be healing, whether it be business, whether it be even relationships, just taking all those aspects of life to that next level.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's start and set the frame from the start of this interview, because I'm sure there's so much content that I want to cover, and I just want to set the frame from the beginning. And let's start by with perception of spirituality and it being so woo-woo out there in business world. How does actually spirituality relate, and how important it is to have the two connected in business?
Yeah, that is a great question. So, I know that there is this paradigm that business and spirituality can sometimes be quite separate because business is about money and it's about business, right? All the things that are included in that. And then a lot of people view spirituality as the bit that you do outside of that. So when you go off into the mountains and you sit and you meditate and you do your yoga, and that seems to be like a separate aspect of people's lives. And saying that, though, I am very pleasantly surprised at the moment of how much that's starting to come together, and it's quite beautiful. But I think, the core, I guess, piece that links the two together is this understanding that everything is energy. Before anything was business, before anything was spiritual, it was actually just an energetic creation. So for me, what I've learned is that when you apply these concepts, these fundamental concepts that I consider to be just about life, you can then take those concepts about energy and the world that we live in, apply it to business, and it applies in a very similar way that it would to energy healing or to meditation or to anything else, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And what are some powerful processes that can actually help entrepreneurs make their business grow in the quantum field to maximize profit?
Okay, so my super sneaky secret is that when you utilize meditation for the purposes of getting clarity on your business, what happens is you actually take away all the guesswork. I can only speak from personal experience. And I know when I first started my business, I was so lost. I was so flustered. I signed up to so many different mentoring programs. I was going to every workshop on marketing and digital this and sales. And like, I've done it all. I've just gone to everything under the sun that I could get my hands on. And I realized that what I was looking for was I wanted somebody to tell me that this is the path or this is the right way. And I was seeking that from outside of myself. So I wanted somebody to just give me a blueprint and say, hey, Eesha, this is how you run a business. But there was a major problem with that. The first one, several problems actually, but the first one was that the type of business I was trying to run is a business that didn't actually exist. So I was bringing in something new into this world. And, you know, when you're pioneering something that's new, you can't expect something new to sit inside of a system that is old. And the system, the typical, you know, like corporate business system is old, it's dying, you know, it's long gone. And I think people are starting to really wake up to that. So, you know, I think the key in this is that when you as a business owner start to find that empowerment in yourself and you really start to utilize things like meditation and internal practice and reflection, what happens is instead of looking to the outside world to tell you how you should run your business, you actually start getting that guidance from within. Because in a spiritual perspective, you know, everybody says you have the wisdom, you have the knowledge, you have it all within you. And then when it comes to running a business, everybody decides that they don't know all the answers and they go everywhere else to find them. And so I think that was the biggest, you know, catch-22 in my life, where here I was as a spiritual mentor, then going out and seeking all this advice from business coaches because I thought that they had the way or the path or something like that. I was actually quite lucky though. And I guess this is a bit of law of attraction coming in as well. All the business coaches that I attracted were actually spiritually inclined. So they all just put the mirror back on me and said, hey, Eesha, do what's right for you. So what I then had to do was I had to put on my CEO pants and I had to take charge of my business, you know?
Absolutely. We all have the answers within us. It's a matter of connecting with that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I just want to have a little disclaimer and say, like, you still have to do the practical parts, because some people, I know people in like the real spiritual community go too far down that end where they're like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and meditate and all my clients will come to me. I'm like, yeah, did you like learn how to do a sales call? Like, you still have to learn skill sets, you know, skill sets which are marketing, skill sets which include sales, skill sets which include just, you know, building rapport with clients, admin, you know, all of those things. They're skill sets. But I think where the intuitive part has really come in for me is knowing what to do when and in which order. And I think that's the part that people get really, really lost and confused and try and seek all this help, because people are like, do I build my podcast first, or should I focus on building my branding, or should I just be doing my one-to-one sessions, or should I not do one-to-one sessions and go around group classes? And there's just all these questions, you know, and I think there isn't one particular pathway that's going to suit everybody. It's just not possible. What I've realized is that when you use this ability to step into your intuition, you actually find the pathway to know which steps you need to do that are in alignment and in resonance, which is where the maximized profit and efficiency comes in. I can give you an example of this.
Yes,
So
please.
many years ago, I launched a program which I never told anyone about. And this is one of my funny little things that I do. You won't ever find my programs on my website because firstly, I launched too many new ones and they're always constantly evolving. So at the moment, I think my website's probably 3 years out of date and I don't list anything on there. You know, it's probably a massive no-no, but that's where I'm at, right? And I can tell you right now, it has not affected my bottom line. Because when I launch a program, the first thing I do is I tune into the energy of that and I tune into the resonance of what it is that I'm pulling in. And then I send the signal out to the universe. And instead of saying, hey, can you bring me clients? I don't actually ask anything. This is where, for me, I don't do manifesting the same way as a lot of other people. A lot of people are like, you have to ask the universe for something and the universe delivers. Whereas I'm just like, hey, universe, this is what I'm ready and prepared to offer. And I just put that signal out. And then as soon as I put that signal out, I kid you not, the people just come to me. So before I've even had a chance to build the website and the funnels and all of that, like all my programs are filled. So the first time I really saw this take into effect was probably about 4 to 5 years ago. I just launched a program where I was helping people to activate their light body. And I'd never run anything like that before, but it was just like this message from the universe that said, this is something that would be really beneficial. And I said, yes. So I basically received that signal, decided I would take that on, and then said, yes, I'm ready. As soon as I said, yes, I'm ready, I just felt this moment of, I guess, energy, like this resonance. And I picked that particular moment to put a post on Facebook. This one post that I put out gave me 20 leads. I think I ended up selling 5 of those people into the program. At the time, it was, I think, about a little over $1,000. So I made about $7,000 from one Facebook post, right? So this is where I look at it and go, I could have sat there and I could have been doing my 2 blogs a day, and I could have been posting all my pictures of food on Instagram, and I could have done everything under the sun. But it's just, you have to go with the feeling. You have to go with the flow. You still have to know how to market correctly, because the post was still a good post. It wasn't like I just put hello and everybody reached out to me. Okay, maybe that's the next level that I need to aim for. So there's definitely a combination there of, tying in the skill sets with the timing. And when all of that comes together, you can just do one post and then not post again for a week and have all your programs filled. So it's just something I've seen time and time again, where actually timing is everything, and timing and alignment are the absolute critical key to having a successful business that is very, very efficient with maximized profit.
Fantastic. So you mentioned alignment, and I want to know how specifically, or obviously marketing, sales, and all these other things that you need for business are more processes, whereas the quantum side of it, how does one connect to that in order to tap into that, to bring the two together?
Right, that's a great question. And I've actually devised, it's a 3-step trademark system that I call the 90-day alignment map. But inside of that process, what I've done is I've actually taken, and this is from years and years of working with people, I basically identified the 3 key steps that people need in order to come into alignment. Now, if any of these 3 pieces are missing, you're not going to come into absolute flow. So the first piece of this 3-step map is basically the calm phase. So the calm phase is where you absolutely have to bring your body into a state of calm. And a lot of entrepreneurs, believe it or not, forget this vital step. They sit there and they're doing marketing and stuff. And I'm like, hang on, but how is your nervous system? Like, how is your actual body? Because if your body is in fight and flight mode, and if you're in stress response, if you're in reaction mode, think about what kind of actions you're taking in your business. Like, you're never going to find that resonance in your business if your nervous system is still in some form of survival. So absolute critical key number 1 step is you have to put actions in place that are going to calm yourself, whether it be get yourself a massage, or whether it be go and do a yoga class, whether it be do some meditation. One of the things we do in my program is we actually spend quite a bit of time learning how to ground ourselves, because the grounding component, even if it's just spending time physically putting your feet on the earth, is so, so critical to then being able to connect to higher realms. And again, I see so many people trying to do it backwards, where they're like, oh, I'm going to connect to source, I'm going to connect to all my angelic guides. I'm like, great, have you got your feet on the ground? Because otherwise your business is not going to come in. Like, it's just not going to come into that fruition. So that's definitely step number 1. Then only after you've got that, once your body's actually calm and you can breathe and you're out of that survival space, then what happens is we bring people into the connection phase. And the connection phase, it basically is critical that you've done step 1 before you go to step 2, because the connection phase is where you do things like you start connecting to your higher self. So if you understand that your business is something that has come through you, which I believe my business isn't mine. I believe my business is something I've chosen to experience in this world purely as a conscious choice, but I don't believe that I've necessarily created it, or at least not without the help of like all the other energies out there. So this business has come to me through the higher self. So when you keep connecting daily to that higher self level, what happens is that you then start receiving the step-by-step daily actions that you need to take, whether it be to do a podcast, whether it be to put a post, whether it be to follow up on a lead from like 2 months ago, or whatever it is that you need to do. Those action steps and the timing of that becomes very clear. So then you connect to your higher self, you start following your intuition, and your intuition, coupled with all the skill sets that you still need to have, allows you to have that next level of efficiency with the way that you flow and that return on investment that you get for not just the money that you put out, but the energy, because time is an energy as well. So if you're sitting here following some system where you have to, just do all the things all the time and hope that something lands, I just find that a waste of energy. I used to work in sales, and I've got a great story. So in sales, they say that it's a numbers game. In sales, it's like you knock on 100 doors. I used to do door to door. So I used to go around knocking on people's doors, and I used to sell them phone contracts. That was my job. And so I'd knock on the people's houses, and of the 100 houses that we knocked on every day, we'd reach about 80 of them. Of the 80, we were guaranteed 1 to 2 sales. That was it. It was just a numbers game. So I thought, okay, cool, no worries. But then I thought, well, what if I can bring in that intuition? What if I can lower the amount of doors that I have to knock on? What if I can skip those 20 altogether because I know that they're not going to work out, and really have that sense of clarity in where my energy is going? So this is something I've been exploring for years, and the way to do this is by connecting into the higher self and to the intuition, so that metaphorically or even literally speaking, you can stop wasting time on the 20 doors that weren't going to go anywhere anyway, right? And then maybe even reduce that number further down to the point where you just connect with the 2 people who are actually in that same resonance, and just save 98% of your time, right? And then the third piece of that is the clarity piece, which is where you bring together the calm and the connectedness with the final piece of then actually getting clear on what are those next steps, and then of course actually doing them. So putting those 3 components together to take what I call aligned or inspired action in such a way that you are still doing the things that you're being guided to do, and not just sitting there on a mountain expecting your business to create itself. Right?
Magically appear.
Yeah, it's all about putting in those key components together with the real practical steps. So having the morning practice of the meditation, the connection, the calming of the self, finding what the action is, and then actually going out and doing the thing.
Conscious action based on the intention. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. So quantum, a quantum business, how does a quantum business accelerate their profits and their impact?
So when I speak about quantum business, what I really refer to is a business that is in energetic alignment, and that's utilizing all the knowledge of this multidimensional world that we live in. So let's just, now I don't know, the people watching this, how familiar they would be with the concept of this quantum world, but just to give you a bit of a framework, guys, it's, we live in a reality where time is totally non-linear. Right? I know that sounds like, for somebody who's hearing this for the first time, they're like, what the hell, she's crazy. But I have a background in engineering, and I can safely say to you that through all my years of meditation, I've learned that time is not linear. It's absolutely not. And so if you just adopt that as a belief that you can choose to take for the purposes of today, then you can start to understand that whatever it is that you're creating that has come through the higher self level and has come through you, that something in the future already exists. Because if you take all the necessary actions now, then in that timeline, it's already there. And so if you understand that the energy of time is non-linear, what happens is you can actually pluck from the future and actually bring that energy now, which means that things happen at an incredibly accelerated rate. And again, to give you a recent example, I wrote a book in a week. I just sat there.
Yeah, incredible.
Just did it last week, 27,000 words, still a little bit bad, but I just smashed it out because after a few days of frustration, I actually wrote the book in about 3 days because I got frustrated for the first few and then was like finally in the flow. But what happened was, by about day 3 of this week that I'd set aside to write this book, I was like, hang on, Eesha, you've already written this book. This book already exists in the ether. Just pull it in. So instead of trying to create this book, I literally got to a point where I was meditating. I think it was on the 3rd or 4th that I was meditating, and I imagined that I had this book in my hands, and I flipped to the first page. I saw the chapter title on there, and I read the page, and then I flipped to the next chapter, and I flipped to the next chapter. And so I just, in my meditation, I read the book that I had already written, and then I wrote it. And I was like, okay, cool, it's already done.
Amazing. So what are some ways to create efficiency and effectiveness for greater impact with a quantum business?
Right. I think the first tangible action step to take would be have a daily meditation practice. If you don't have a daily meditation practice, I think you are automatically setting yourself up for just levels of exhaustion in your business. I think it's something that you absolutely, number one, have to prioritize. But not just any meditation. You have to do the right type of meditation. So the types of meditations that I get my clients to do, they are meditations that are based on energetic healing. And inside this process that I get them to do, they are actually daily connecting in with the energy of their business. So again, if we come back to this idea that everything is an energy, your business is an energy, right? So if you accept that as a reality, then nothing is stopping you from sitting down in your morning practice and saying, hey business, how you doing? What's up? Like actually communicating with it and asking what the business needs from you. You'd be surprised what you get if you just sit down and do this one simple practice every day. And I think, one of the biggest things that people learn when they adopt this in their daily routine is that they actually start taking efficient actions that are based more on the energy of the business rather than based on, the logical mind and what they think they need to do. So this is where
Absolutely.
sometimes if you come from that real logical background, you might struggle with this. Because if your process is you have to do the same thing every day and that's your routine and that's how your business functions, like cool, it would work to some extent, but at the same time, there's systems, and I'm all for systems. I actually love systems as well. But inside of that system, there has to be room for free flow. There has to be room for, that movement. And that movement can only come from that connectedness. Because on one particular day, you may feel like you want to write about a particular topic, and that topic has to get out on that day because it has to meet that particular person who's going to open their phone at that exact time and see your post.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what those little synchronicities are going to be until you actually sit down and you connect in and you ask your business, what do you need from me today?
Beautiful, yeah. And that is absolutely something that I adopt, and I teach my clients as well. So looking at the business as a separate entity rather than you being the business itself. So yeah, amazing. So what resources or what can you provide the listeners so they can implement or experience what you've spoken about?
I'd say a good starting point would probably be my foundation meditation practice, which I'm happy to provide a link for you guys. It's a 17-minute daily meditation practice that is really designed to bring you into a space of heart connection. So in that process, there are four different steps to it. The first is we get everybody to connect in with their heart star. And this is absolutely, again, vital. One of those things that I do every single day, because your heart star is the light that's already inside of you. It's like finding that reconnection to yourself and to source, and knowing that it's not out there somewhere. It's actually in here. Like we all have it right within ourselves. So when you take that time, and again, I really believe that where attention goes, energy flows. So when you take the time to bring your attention or your intention inwards into that space, what happens is that energy starts to grow. And then your energy field and your body actually starts vibrating at the same frequency as your inner source vibration. So then, of course, everything you attract into that space is in that love vibration. It's in that high vibing energy. And so even just by doing that one component every day, you can start to see some massive, massive shifts in your reality. And then, of course, in the meditation, there's a series of other processes that connect to source, connect to earth, opening up your chakras, that sort of thing. That's usually probably a good starting point. And then, of course, anyone can go to my Facebook group as well, where they can find more resources, podcasts. I've got all sorts of processes in there as well.
Fantastic. And where can people connect with you? Where can they connect?
So most of the action for me happens on my Facebook group. So if you just go to facebook.com/group/Eesha Patel, that's EeshaPatel. That's usually where you can find me. I do post quite a lot on there. We've got a nice, happy little community growing in there. So yeah, please come join us there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Eesha. It's been such a pleasure talking to you today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on here.
My name's Maria Van Vuklis from the Think Tank podcast. Till next time, bye for now.